Everybody's tired out from the tryptophan, the turkey, the football. Maybe you're in bed looking to get a leg up on Black Friday shopping. Who knows what else is on your mind? But on Sportswire Radio, there is no day off, and for good reason, because our guest tonight has got a lot to get off his chest. He is one of the emerging big men around, and especially for places like Resurrection Pro Wrestling and Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, where he has reemerged with vengeance. And a few people on those lists we might be talking about here tonight. Our guest needs no introduction, but because he may figuratively and literally be the tallest person that we've ever had here on Sportswire Radio, and that's saying a lot, ladies and gentlemen, we have to give him that introduction that everybody else has gotten. So with that, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show. They call him Armageddon. Shane Davidson. My friend, happy Thanksgiving.
And happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend.
Well, we'll certainly find out. I know a few people that we're going to be talking about probably won't be having a happy Thanksgiving thinking about you and seeing you here figuratively and literally on Sportswire Radio. Now, you are the tallest person I believe we've ever had here on the show, so I'm going to certainly tread very lightly with you, sir. But I have to ask you, especially for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio and that are Tennessee Backyard Wrestling fans, you must have something to say after what happened in the main event of Rampage 154, where it looked like you were about to dispose of the Prophet J. Wild, and then all of a sudden a trendsetter came out and tried to set a trend on you and even things up in Alan Michaels. So those for listening and watching here, tell us what happened and what do you think?
You see, Mr. Alan Michaels, he's nothing but a coward playing in a big boy's world. Alan Michaels, he's nothing. As you can tell, I chased him down, and yet he was nowhere to be found. He is so upset and heartbroken at the simple fact that the end-all be-all went viral for putting down the trendsetter. But when I tell you, Alan Michaels, you've costed me everything. And I had to do what I had to do. And I'm going to continue to do what I have to do.
Let me ask you a question, though. You just used the phrase end all be all, and we've heard that here a couple of times on TBW TV, and especially on Rampage. And I have to ask you, since we haven't formally heard an explanation on it, and you were here live with us, what do you mean, sir, by that you are the end all be all?
Well, you see, before I was the Southern Bulldozer,
yes,
I used to think I can flatten everything and leave. But the thing is, when you flatten something, it can get back up and move. But when Armageddon comes down on you, it's unstoppable. It's an unstoppable force. Did you see the candle flicker? Oh, the presence of the darkness is just unbreakable, unbearable. It's
Even the
just
thumbs up just came on the screen. I mean, that's interesting in itself, sir. I don't know if I've seen that before on Sportswire. You're talking about being Armageddon, the end all be all, and then we see things come on the screen. I mean, that can't be coincidence.
I do unnatural like things, especially when I'm in the ring. When I hear the bell sound, demons awake. That's
Well,
a sound that
yeah,
just
I could
yeah.
see that, but I'm wondering because you also talked about the fact that you were the Southern Bulldogs. Now, we saw a little bit of you this summer on TBW TV, and you've certainly transformed. Now, I personally think that it's probably for the better because looking at the size, looking at the strength that you certainly have advantages that I'd probably say I don't think we've ever seen in TBW before. But I mean, you went from the Southern Bulldozer to Armageddon Shane Davidson. It almost felt like overnight. I mean, are they two different people? I mean, what happened?
The they're not two different people. Shane Davison is Shane Davison. It's just something that possessed Shane Davison. Uh, I don't know, man. It's just a great feeling that I've never felt, and quite frankly, I love it.
You love it.
Uh,
Interesting. Well, I tell you what, we have a lot of people here who want to talk to you. So I will plug a couple of different things here and get to some business. But let me get to some comments here first. I got a ton of them here. Speaking of people that we saw not too long ago on the show, our hardcore champion, Mr. Atomic Titan, Atomic freaking Titan. I know you heard of him quite well. He says, "I'm here now. Show me the respect I deserve." Well, I mean,
respect is earned.
I knew you were going to say that. But speaking of people, though, who don't agree with that statement, Mr. Joshua Allen, our guest on Monday's show, says, "Mr. Armageddon and the respect me crybaby," with the first comment. Go figure. I mean, boy. And then they go back and forth here, but okay. And let's see here. It says, "You, Mr. I'm not going to compete for some hardcore king." Yeah, they're going back and forth. Obviously, they don't like each other. In fact, they even spoke on Monday's show simultaneously as we saw Mr. Titan interrupt Mr. Allen. And he also says, "Now let me do what I have to do here, loser." But he has a question for you, though, Mr. Titan, and I'm going to read it off the air because that's what people want to see. "Hey, Shane, how does it feel being a sore loser, especially after what you did tonight? Like I said, I got an offer of a lifetime for you, but you would be too scared to accept it."
Too scared? Too scared. Did you see what I did to Alan Michaels? Not once, but twice? Are you crazy? Does it look like I need you in my corner, you little twerp? Does it look like I need you beside me? I'm a one-man wrecking machine, and you're going to sit there and say I'm a sore loser? You did nothing but cry about how you wanted to be a champion. Nothing but sit there and cry, bitch, and complain about everything. And you're going to call me a sore loser? When's the last time you won Atomic Titan besides the Hardcore Championship?
Well, I mean, conversely, now I'm not going to try to pick sides here in this, but could you make the case, though, that someone, though, with the experience of the Atomic Titan and winning championship after championship and being a mainstay in this sport, that maybe having him in your corner or his advice, could that help you maybe go and do what you want to do? And where you said one down, many more to go. I mean, could you make that argument?
There's no argument. I've proved I don't need anybody in my corner. I've proven everything. Everything.
So then basically there's no dice here. No dice with Atomic Titan.
No. None.
Okay. I'm going to move on from that. Move on. Anyone that accepts this offer is just going to get it used and manipulated by this snake. Trust me, I speak from experience. So Mr. Allen has some history with that, and he gives his opinion. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to a Green Bay Packers fan, Mr. Ron. He's
I'm
a happy
sorry.
man.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
well, I'm sorry too, actually, but he beat my Detroit Lions, but that's a different topic for a different time. Zip it. Why don't you try to shut me up? Well, something tells me here that Mr. Allen and Mr. Titan will be talking for weeks after weeks until maybe they go into a ring. But speaking of people that are here that we've obviously addressed already off the bat, it's a guy you probably heard of, right? The trendsetter Alan Michaels. You heard of him, right?
Coward? Yeah. Coward boy? Yeah. Yeah.
Could I bring
Coward.
Could I bring up his comments for you?
Absolutely. I want to see what this sore loser of a human being has to say.
All right, so I'm going to go 2 for 1 here. I'm going to give you back-to-back comments before I say hello to a few people here. So first of all, the trendsetter would like to say that you don't say that, you big meanie. And then he also says the only end he's seeing is the end of a McDonald's double cheeseburger. You don't seem like a double cheeseburger guy, first of all, but I'll let you address what Mr. Michaels is addressing to you, and you left us here. There you go.
Sorry, I had to laugh.
Oh, you were laughing. Oh, I see. I understand.
Because it's just pure stupidity at this point.
Why? Why is it stupidity though?
He's mad because I beat him at All Hallows Mania, so he's trying to nitpick every little thing he can. But Alan Michaels still hasn't responded to the challenge that I issued on 154.
Yes, we did see that you want a match with him still.
Oh, I want it, and I'm gonna get it.
Now, I was gonna go back to All Hallows Mania 3 for a second because yes, you did defeat him, no question. You were impressive. You made Alan Michaels bleed. You basically, if you could have threw the kitchen sink out there, you would have did. I think you did 2 sit-down power bombs in the match. You basically punched his head with a chair on top of me. You did a lot, no question. But could you make the argument, though, that Mr. Michaels is either A, gotten into your head, or B, that he's tolerated so much that it took all that from you, and Mr. Michaels is still standing, and he seems to want more? What is your reactions to some of that?
Why? Why do you want more? Why? Just why? That is the most important question, is why? Why do you want to keep this going, Alan Michaels? The dark path I have been led to. See?
Yep.
Let me move this. The dark path that has led me to where I am now is scarier than you have ever seen. Alan Michaels, you need to accept the challenge for season finale, or I'm going to do unthinkable things.
Wait. Time out for a second. Time out. Did you just say that if Mr. Michaels doesn't accept your challenge, that you are going to do unthinkable things? Are you basically saying that you're going to basically unleash Armageddon on the entire TBW roster?
I'm going to unleash hell on the TBW roster if I don't get what I want.
So it seems to me, and tell me your thoughts on this, sir, because obviously you've come here and said a lot in a short amount of time. And I'll get to more comments, and especially to Mr. Michaels. But it sounds to me as if you and Mr. Michaels might be the 2 resident big men on the TBW roster. And what it sounds like to me is that there may not be room for the two of yous here in TBW. You think that's a fair assessment on my behalf?
I think that's fair. There's not room for more than one big man. Shane Davidson, am the only monster to walk in TBW.
Well, we're going to certainly find out. And if you want to follow and support Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, I'd encourage that you do so because they have a brand new episode of Rampage number 155, which I got a chance to watch a little bit before we were on the air. And the likes of the Atomic Titan were actually live, and they addressed the TBW fan base. You can follow TBW here on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. And we want to thank Tennessee Backyard Wrestling for sharing on their TikTok page our segment with myself, Joshua Allen, and the Atomic freaking Titan. So you never know what could be shared. That's why you want to support TBW and also catch up on all prior TBW stuff. You can do that on YouTube at TBW 2017, where you can watch the likes of Armageddon Shane Davidson. They're closing in on 6,000 subscribers. Join the movement. And also, if you're out there, you better follow Armageddon Shane Davidson. You can do that here on Instagram. Simple, straight and to the point at Armageddon_Shane Davidson here. Let's get to some more comments here because I have a ton of comments here and people seem to want to talk to you. First of all, I want to say hello to my guest next week on the show. He's going to be back here next week to be talking about the IMF's first ever live venue show, Mr. Soldier GP, the IMF World Heavyweight Champion, the big man like yourself. He also recently, if I can break the fourth wall, actually celebrated an anniversary with his beautiful wife yesterday. So happy anniversary, champ. Happy anniversary.
I don't do this often, but
Yeah.
happy anniversary.
That's really nice of you. Boy, what a nice moon you're in. I guess it's Thanksgiving. But he says happy Turkey Day. And he also says Atomic Titan, respect earned, not given. Okay, fair enough here. Well, I want to say hello also to my buddy in Australia because it is now, I believe, 2:49 p.m. there. That is Mr. Ace Reed of the Wired Up podcast. He is here and he says, good day, Bryce. Let me get to those several more comments. I have a lot of comments here because Alan Michaels seems like he's got something to say. First of all, he says that you are definitely a double cheeseburger type of guy. He has personally seen you scarf one down backstage. And he also further says, the reason I want more is the same reason you order 2 double cheeseburgers at McDonald's. Now, Mr. Davidson, Mr. Armageddon, right? Mr. Resident Big Man in TBW. Is Mr. Michaels hinting at your weight? Is that what he's trying to do? Get under your skin?
He's one to talk. He's one to talk.
Well, he's the trendsetter. He has the show. I mean, that's where you reappeared, and you basically, after his segment with the Nature Boy Gage Flair, came out, and all of a sudden we're Armageddon Shane Davidson. So I mean,
hold on. You use the word I need to say something with this.
You
use the word trending. The only thing trending is his cholesterol. He needs to go on a diet. That fat POS. I'm trying to stay PG.
I appreciate that, but are you saying then that Mr. Michaels really is the one with the McDonald's problem and he should
Absolutely.
So he seems to really be trying to lie a little bit here, you're saying. I'm not going to ask you if you're a McDonald's person, but I'm going to certainly get to some more comments here. I want to say hello to somebody else here. Come on, let's be honest here, Mr. Armageddon. You costed Alan Michaels tonight by hitting Fat Asian. You were upset because he knows he has your number. Well, I mean, I started the show off conversely. We'll let you come back in a second. But I started the show off with 154 and Jay Wild, where you lost your match, where Mr. Michaels came out. Obviously, now you've come out and turned the tables. So, I mean, what do you say toward this?
It's called getting even. I don't believe in being odd. I believe in being even. And you see, this is the ignorance that is going to get people hurt nowadays. See, Cool Life, I hit Fat Asian to cost Alan Michaels everything because that's what he did to me. Alan Michaels was nothing but a sore loser because I beat him at All Hallows Mania. Ugh. The mediocrity in that comment.
Is it? But are you sure though that you can make the case that Mr. Michaels is a sore loser?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's proven. It's proven. On 154, he proved to everybody that he's nothing but a sore loser.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think that you mentioned All Hallows Mania 3, and you did defeat Mr. Michaels in a one-on-one match. I'll certainly give you that. You certainly forced Mr. Michaels into a position he probably would not have wanted to be in. I will get to some more comments here, though, because people want to talk to you. Michaels has that never say die attitude that I respect. This has to come to an end.
It only comes to an end when there's only one man standing. Oh, that gives me an idea. Commissioner Beast, if you're watching, I would like the match at season finale to be a last man standing match. I think that's a great idea, actually.
So what you're saying here is live, right? On Thanksgiving, on Sportswire Radio, the
Yeah.
number one global radio station. You're saying, you're personally addressing Commissioner Beast that you actually won a match at season finale with Alan Michaels in a last man standing match?
Yes, I do. Yes, we do.
Well, I wonder if Commissioner Beast is out there, and I certainly wonder if we could put the bat signal on out there and if Commissioner Beast has something to say. But, before I get to comments for you, Mr. Armageddon Shane Davidson, I'm actually going to give you an announcement also because I see that you're prepared with things that you want to say and announce. I've got something for you in about 10 or 15 minutes that I'm going to announce actually directly for you that might address some of your future plans. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, let me get to some more comments. The Atomic Freaking Titan says, Shane, let's not forget about Hillbilly Deluxe, and I'm sure he would take you out. He stands at 7 feet tall. Go back and watch the history, pal.
History schmistery. It doesn't matter to me. It's in the past. Let it be in the past. That's what you like to do is dwell in it.
Okay. Short, simple, to the point, and I'm not going to really address the past because the future is now with Armageddon Shane Davidson. So that's what I'm going to say and move on. Let me get to more comments here. Mr. Soldier, who will be here in our chat, I think next Friday, right around this time, maybe a little bit earlier than that. I believe Soldier and a crew from the IMF and on that card, which is going to be, I think, all over from the Midwest. They're going to be here to talk about Winter Clash. He says, glad you added TBW to that statement on being the only monster because I'm the only monster, the popular monster that matters. That's a lot. That's a mouthful. Now, you are fat shamming. What a villain is going to cancel you. So he's basically saying that you're going to get canceled for fat shamming. I mean, I guess I don't think you're worried about being canceled, though, sir. With your size and
I'm still going to be
strength,
relevant. I'm still going to be relevant. It doesn't matter where I go. My name's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, I could see that. Listen, I'm not going to argue with that. And let me get to some more comments. Speaking of Thanksgiving here, because people seem to be tuned in tonight. Omen Black, another big man, says, is Atomic Titan still pretending to be the hardcore me? Listen, kid, this isn't Comic-Con. You can't cosplay as me and get away with it. And who's the clown in the face paint? Well, he stands at 6'6", and he's the end-all, be-all. And he says, one down and many more to go. His name is Armageddon Shane Davidson. You can follow him on Instagram at Armageddon_Shane Davidson. Straight, simple, and to the point. And also, Omen and Atomic go back and forth. And also, Tom, you need to be a guest on Staying Trendy. Well, I'm going to not be a guest on Staying Trendy, but you might want to stay tuned about something. Also, want to say hello to my guest from Tuesday's show, who is the OMW, the Omega Michigan Wrestling World Champion, the wild card Jason Storm, who we'll see in the ring Sunday night for RWW Backyard Wrestling against ADT, who says he is Backyard Wrestling. So that is certainly an interesting conversation. I'm sure we'll have more about. And these guys go back and forth saying hello to each other. So does the Atomic Titan. All right, so you know what? I got all that, but I want to ask you, though. You said Alan Michaels was one down and many more to go. I mean, who else could be on this list in Tennessee Backyard Wrestling? You know, you've reappeared here in a short amount of time. We saw you a little while ago on Rampage 155. We saw what you were doing to the Prophet Jay Wild. I mean, we've certainly seen that in a short amount of time, you have made a huge name for yourselves. When a lot of people really didn't know what to make of you, you were kind of like an enigma as the Southern Bulldozer. Now it seems like Armageddon has really come down to TBW. So who else could potentially be on this list? As you say in your words, one down, many more to go.
You never know. It's about respect. And I know I'm gonna sound like that pipsqueak Atomic Titan, but respect is earned. Tom, respect is earned. And that's what Alan Michaels has yet to understand is respect.
Do you think it's because Alan Michaels goes about things differently? I mean, he certainly wants to be the guy that is up to date on all the latest. He wants to be the guy that can be funny. He wants to try to be what's in. He's trying to stay relevant, whether it's really who he is, whether it's for desperation to be liked, whatever it might be, whether he's into fads, I don't know, whatever you want to throw out there. I mean, does that bother you who Alan Michaels is? I mean, what do you say to all that?
He's a nobody to me, so I really could care less.
But obviously you want to basically eliminate him.
I want to prove a point.
Okay.
And my point is respect.
But the way he goes about things, to you, you don't feel that he's earned that respect, to quote the Atomic freaking Titan, and he doesn't have the respect from people like you, basically.
Pretty much. That's you pretty much summed it all up there.
Well, that's what we do here, and I want to say hello to somebody else who might be, if I could say it here and break the fourth wall. He basically did it for me. And by the way, his photo is actually one of my newest lights. Actually, I don't know if it's kind of ironic or not, but he's the reigning defending XCW champion of the world, otherwise known as Mr. ACT, Alex Cardona Thompson. He is also, in his real name, actually a host for a show on sportswireradio.org called The Giving Receipt Show, which you can find here almost anytime if you dial in via the Listen Live button on sportswireradio.org. And we say hello to Mr. ACT, and we hope that he is having a happy Thanksgiving. And Jason Storm says, where do they find this guy? We don't want to be in the ring. But, I wanted to ask you also, we've seen you in Resurrection Pro Wrestling, and I have to imagine that you've got some scores to settle there also.
Gunnar Morgan and Adrian Prince.
Yep.
They're in a world of hurt. But right now I'm strictly gonna stay in TBW to prove my point of why I belong in TBW and why I belong in the wrestling world in general.
Okay.
So with that being said, that's a story for another time.
Okay, so I'll tell you what then. I'll tell that story another time, and I'll certainly possibly have an announcement about Resurrection Pro Wrestling in a little while. But let me come back to Mr. Michaels, because Mr. Michaels seems like he's really fired up right now. Mr. Michaels wants to say, you want to bring up all this stuff now. Why don't you talk about our history? Why don't you talk about the 12 years of friendship that you threw away and turned your back on me? Now, this sounds a little bit personal. This sounds a little bit, I guess, maybe blurs the fourth wall almost. This is certainly where things get a little interesting because I don't think the TBW fan, I don't think the Sportswire fan, I don't think even those in the know, and maybe even some of your peers in the locker room in TBW, who you share a locker room with, who you share a yard with, know about this history. I mean, is this true? Is this inaccurate? I mean, do you want to talk about the fact that Mr. Michaels says that he has a 12-year friendship with you that you basically threw away?
Alan Michaels, you went low. Pardon me, Tom, but I'm about to break the fourth wall.
Okay.
This isn't Shane Davidson talking to Alan Michaels. This is Shane Pasquini talking to Michael Drury. You want to bring up the 12-year friendship? We trained together. You turned your back on me. Wanting the fame, wanting the glory, wanting your name in lights. And you're going to sit there and say, I turned my back on you? You're nothing but a skis. The simple fact that you literally went that far and that low shows the character you really are.
Well, that's a mouthful that you just said because you even addressed, I guess, his real name and you mentioned your name. I mean, that's something we don't hear much on the show. That's something that, really doesn't happen often here. And I could tell that maybe that we should let Mr. Michaels talk about it. In fact, I should probably give you an announcement, the first of two announcements, as I promised about 10 minutes ago, that you've talked a lot about Mr. Michaels, and Mr. Michaels is here live with us talking, and he is the trendsetter, right? He's always trying to be trendy. Well, live in your chair, same time, Saturday night, Alan Michaels is going to be here live, and he's requested a microphone, and he wants to talk about what you've asked and what you've wanted. So maybe we'll get that answer here live in about 48 hours from now. How does that sound to you?
I'd love to hear that little that not little. I'm sorry. I lied there for a second. He's not little. He's
He ain't
huge.
little.
He's huge. He's a big bitch, is what he is.
Well, okay. Well, you know what? I guess we're going to have to find out here on Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station, because you heard it here first. A man who hosts his own show. And that's going to be here in about 48 hours from now. That is Mr. Alan Michaels. Alan is going to be here, and he's going to respond to a number of things that Mr. Armageddon Shane Davidson has said here. We'll definitely get into a whole bunch of a number of different things here, also here on Sportswire Radio. So we look forward to that. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling here. And we will see if we do stay trendy here. Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. But right before that, I'm actually going to be working two for the price of one because apparently somebody you actually shared a locker room with, we're going to be talking about one of his opponents upcoming Saturday night, 8 o'clock, in your chair, Mr. Hardcore. He is basically like the guy when it comes to death matches, and he's going to be wrestling a guy on January the 6th at the North Haven Massacre, Jimmy Controversy, a guy I know that you know very well in Resurrection Pro Wrestling. We saw him last weekend. Well, Hardcore is going to be here this weekend. He's going to talk about Jimmy Controversy, and he's promised to do some things that you say that you're going to do to Alan Michaels. So you're getting not one, but two for the price of one here live on Sportswire Radio. And you can watch that here. You can watch all of our shows by hitting the YouTube button here at Sportswire Radio 6579 Backspace Streams. You can follow us on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. Catch us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year at sportswireradio.org. We also have a brand new blog that is up there. We've also had some recent announcement there from Mr. Joshua Allen. His return to Sportswire Radio was posted on our blog. Also, the news that we recently broke about Justin Parsley, one half of the XCW Tag Team Champions, inducted into our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. We will also have a formal ceremony for that in a few weeks. We also will have Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling. He's being inducted on December the 20th, so stay tuned for more details here. And again, I'll be back here also Friday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern time, talking all the latest happenings here in the world of sports. But let me get to some more comments here. Trendsetter Shane Davidson. So that's what Mr. Atomic Titan has to say. He says Saturday Night Sportswire goes trendy. Well, I don't know in my 5 years if I've been trendy. I guess you could say that I've actually survived this long. Maybe I am the trends. Maybe I am trendy just for surviving for 5 years. But hey, we'll find out. Gag Reflex here. I think I know this person says not only ACT, but he can't hang with any of the XCW roster. Well, I'm going to certainly plead the fifth on that for now, but I have to ask you a question that I always ask people here on this show. And I want to ask you this question here. So I know you've talked a lot about Mr. Michaels, and I get that. But what are your goals here, if there's any other goals in Tennessee Backyard Wrestling?
Whatever comes my way, that's what I hope.
Okay.
Is anything, whatever comes my way, whoever steps in my way, it's honestly just whatever at this point.
So it's fair to say then that right now what's in your way is Alan Michaels.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously in my way. That big. Ooh, I'm sorry. Listen, you're
Armageddon Shane Davidson. Listen, you're Armageddon Shane Davidson. I'll tell you what, though. Your moveset is rather impressive because you got the sit-down powerbomb. You got your moveset where you basically, your kicks are powerful. The way you move in the ropes. I mean, I can certainly tell that Mr. Michaels is going to be in for a long night. But, I mean, when you come to a company like TBW and you've set yourself out here in a short amount of time, especially with this, I guess you could say, new and improved image here. I mean, is there anything else that you might want to say to anybody in the locker room that might want to avoid you after what you put Mr. Michaels through once again in this last man standing match, if Mr. Michaels and Commissioner Beast agree to both terms?
Show respect. That's the biggest thing that will get you far in the company, is showing respect, paying respect.
Have you paid enough respect, though? Have you paid the respect? Who have you?
Yeah. I believe I've paid my dues. I believe I've earned opportunities. I'm not handed anything. And that's where people are confused at. A lot of people are confused about it.
Well, who do you think would be confused? Because in watching TBW TV, I mean, sure, you did get a main event in a short amount of time against the Prophet J. Wild, a very established opponent. I would agree with you on that. I mean, you and Mr. Michaels even have some history at Anniversary. I mean, I won't really bring that up here. But, I mean, who would you feel would say that you have been handed or haven't had any respect in any way through? You know, what do you say to all that?
They're marks. That's all I have to say.
Okay. So basically that you don't see any of that, and you don't who is said that you've been handed any. That's my question. I mean, you said Mr. Michaels. Are you saying Mr. Michaels conversely is the one that's been handed things? Are you trying to say conversely it's Mr. Michaels that's the one that's gotten himself consistently time and time again in important spots in TBW TV, and basically for reasons that he didn't earn? Is that kind of what you're trying to tell me here tonight?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Fair enough here. But a good question here from Atomic Freaking Titan, because I was kind of curious myself. I mean, so no championships in sight for you. There's nothing that you'd want. You don't want Gage Flair's title, even. You don't want anything. No gold.
I don't need a championship to prove that I'm better. I let my work in the ring do the talking for me.
Okay, but I actually have to bring this up. This is a fair point here, but I speak to a lot of people. I don't know how much of this you watch and how much I know you've heard about Sportswire, but I have wrestlers on from all over the world, right? I have my professional wrestlers in England, like Bentley, for example, who holds 2 world titles. The natural born fighter, RP Davis, who's got 3 world titles, coming on here next Thursday in your chair in the afternoon. Then we have guys like the Atomic Titan, Mr. Allen, Jason Storm. I want to give Jason Storm a big shout out, actually, who is the OMW world champion, is going to be in one of the big shows coming up here for ROEW called Anniversary. It's their most successful one they're going to have yet. And the list goes on and on and on. Obviously, the XCW guys, Justin Parsley, Corey Lee, Chris Jones, ACT. The list goes on. I can go on all day. And I also want to give a big prop to my guys in DBW. I have DBW coverage coming up on Monday. Can't forget about them. But the point is that there are wrestlers that fall in 2 types of categories. There are one that do it for the fans, or maybe do it to kind of stay up to date with the trends, like an Alan Michaels. And then there are those like an Atomic Titan who do it for the gold, who do it for the championships, who do it because they want the money, they want the fame. But you're telling me here that you don't want don't want to be liked by the fans. So what are you doing it for then? Because there's usually wrestlers fall in 2 categories.
I do it to prove that I'm the best thing that's ever set foot in the backyard. And I don't need gold. I don't need my name in lights. I don't need fame. I don't need it. I don't even want it.
But then what are you doing it for?
Myself.
Okay, but usually, and the reason I ask is, again, we are here with Armageddon Shane Davidson. You can follow Armageddon Shane Davidson on Instagram at Armageddon_Shane Davidson. Is, again, there are those that do it for the gold. They do it for themselves, and it's a dog-eat-dog business. People stab each other in the back all the time. You've talked about the 12-year relationship. You've talked about the friendship, and you've addressed it. You basically went and broke the whole walls down between you and Alan Michaels. You said your real name. You said his real name. The facts are is that people do it for certain reasons, and it's usually 2 types. But what you're telling me here tonight is that you're doing it for yourself, but I'm not quite sure what exactly are those reasons.
For fun.
Okay, all right. I mean, if you want to hurt people, okay, I'll give you that. It seems to me like maybe you're doing it. You want to hurt people.
I didn't want to come off as a arrogant prick, but like that's what I feed off of is people hurting. And
well, you're 6'6". I mean, listen, you're 6'6". You can certainly do a sit-down power bomb like nobody else we've seen in TBW. You've certainly come in now. You've also worn this mask, which I have to ask before I do something for you. What is with the mask that we've seen you on TBW TV with? Can you talk about that for the audience?
The mask.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to introduce you to somebody. This is Tonka. And Tonka is the Prince of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the mask just strolling.
Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I was just taking a walk.
And you just saw this mask just almost appear on the floor, and it called you almost.
It's like it spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
It still speaks to me.
What does it say?
You don't want to know.
I guess Alan Michaels might find out. Is that what you're trying to tell us at that last man standing match if he accepts? And maybe we'll find out what he says and certainly what Commissioner Beast has to say coming up Saturday Night Live on Sportswire Radio.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me get to a couple of comments here before I do something here. First of all, Mr. Michaels says the only person Shane respects apparently is Mr. Ronald McDonald himself. Now, let me ask you one more follow up on McDonald's. I actually I'm gonna go somewhere with this here. Now, obviously, he mentions McDonald's. He mentions it over and over and over tonight. He talked about the 12-year friendship. Is it something that brings up a bad memory where maybe you and him once upon a time went to McDonald's and maybe you ordered double cheeseburgers and that's what he's trying to bring out, that McDonald's brings up a bad memory? Maybe he had to pay or cover the cost of a Big Mac or the double cheeseburger and it's something that brings up these memories or these thoughts. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here for the audience.
I think he's still hungry. I
Maybe,
honestly,
well,
I
maybe
mean,
he's.
that's like his third time bringing up McDonald's. Are you
Well, I
hungry, you
guess
fat
maybe it's
ass?
because, maybe because he's mad that most McDonald's are actually closed on Thanksgiving. Maybe that's what he's mad about. I mean, if I'm going to take your side on this because you're in the chair right now. I mean, but I have another comment here from Mr. Michaels. He says the man says it stinks and to never put it on my face. Well, he's trying to be trendy. He's trying to stay trendy, basically. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to stay trendy. Although I'll say this. I'll actually give you a benefit of the doubt here. It was kind of I almost like was trying to see Mr. Michaels do the woo, and then him and the Nature Boy Gage Flair trying to do the
He
that
almost
strut.
broke. It looked like he almost broke a hip.
I was gonna say, I hope that's the only time in TBW history that Alan Michaels attempts to strut with the Nature Boy Gage Flair. That was kind of like one of those awkward moments, like if you were watching a sitcom and you're kind of waiting for like either like the next scene to move on. That was that moment. But Mr. Michaels, maybe he'll respond and tell us why that was the case here. Though he still says he hopes to see Mr. Flair one day in the ring. But if Mr. Davidson has his way in the ring, Mr. Michaels may never be seen in TBW, period, because he may not be getting up at all altogether. But speaking of people we might be seeing real soon on Sportswire Radio in a few days, somebody else, that is the former Black Fox Jacob Young himself, and he says you are correct. Respect is earned. The Armageddon Shane Davidson, I respect what you do, but are you asking the most important question? Who is truly pulling the strings? It's a very complicated question there.
I'm gonna get real close to the microphone for this. It's not you, Jacob Young. It's not you, buddy. I do things alone. And have been.
Well, he's got his own issues with the Atomic Titans, obviously. He's unhappy about what happened in his situation, so I'm sure he'll focus.
Can I go back to the past a little bit?
You can say whatever you want. You're 6'6", sir.
I think he's still a little salty when I punched him in the mouth.
You did, and there was obviously some history a couple of months ago in a different name you had when you were the Southern Bulldozer, where you technically won a match. I think that's what you're referring to there, and somebody else who was on the show and really couldn't put many sentences together. We'll call him basically the Puerto Rican nightmare, Manny Cobra, took a victory away from you. So maybe Manny Cobra certainly would be very happy that he's not the one here in the chair and you're not saying anything to him. But that's here nor there. But certainly the past does come out here. And also Mr. Michaels wants to address the strut. He says, the strut was too old for me to do. I got to do more strut trendy. Now, Mr. Davidson, there's somebody that wants to address you. No, it's not Commissioner Beast. No, it's not Alan Michaels. But he has something to say to you. And we just saw him literally a little while ago on TBW TV. Would you like me to bring this person onto the show here live on Sportswire Radio for the audience?
Depends on who it is.
It's not Joshua Allen.
Is it somebody from TBW?
It's somebody from TBW.
Bring him on.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
You sure? All right, it's definitely from TBW. It's not Joshua Allen, though.
Is it Atomic Titan?
Ta-da!
Well. I'm now here. And you want to talk about respect? I'm the only person here that deserves respect, kid. And you talk about having no
You're at
goals.
the bottom of
Well,
the
when you're
totem
in
pole.
my business, Shane Davidson, I think you need goals. Because that's what I'm after right here is gold. That's my end goal. And if you don't have no goals, then you look ridiculous. You say it's about you. Well, it's about me too, but it's about getting this right here. And that's what I did at All Hallows Mania.
You're at the bottom of the totem pole, boy.
No. I'm actually a champion, unlike you. I cannot wait to step in the ring with you and show you what I'm all about. Because that's what I am as a champion. And I'll show you that I'm the hardcore king and that you will respect me.
Atomic Titan.
I'm tired of your games. And you know what? I hope Alan Michaels comes on here and outshines you.
Are you
You're
done?
not a scary monster. All you've been doing is being a coward. And you know, I gave you an offer of a lifetime earlier.
A coward?
But you disrespected me. You disrespected the hardcore king. And I'm not too happy about it.
Your mouth. I don't care if you're a Grand Slam champion. I don't care if you're a veteran in this business. I don't care that you have more experience with TBW Atomic Titan. I done warned you.
You know what? You can warn me all you want, but at the end of the day, I want the respect I deserve. I took down bigger men than you, and I'm not scared one bit.
When I'm standing over your limp body, you will be.
So you think that that's going to happen, which is not going to happen. But, you know, I was sitting here listening, and you say you have no goals. You don't want to be a champion. It's all about yourself. Like I said.
Answer me this, Atomic Titan. What do I have to prove? What do I have to prove wearing gold around my shoulder? What do I have to prove with that? That I'm better than you when I already know I'm better than you.
Well, let the track record speak for itself, because honestly, you don't mean nothing to me.
Just because you've had one victory in over 6 months doesn't mean
all you are is a
to
coward.
me.
All you are is a coward. That's all
the
you
real
are.
coward here is Alan Michaels. And
Alan Michaels is not a coward, and I'll take up for him right here, because when I was the American Dragon, I had a long talk backstage with him, and you know what? You ruined that friendship. He's exactly right. I don't blame him for what he did last week, because you cheated at All Hallows Mania to get that win. You took it upon yourself.
Listen to me. Atomic Titan. You're saying I cheated in an Armageddon street fight. The idiocracy that just came out of your mouth.
Okay, look, I understand. It was a street fight. You can still cheat, and I understand that, because I seen what you did. Alan Michaels obviously knocked over the ref, but that was on accident. But you took the advantage right there. And I seen exactly what you did. No.
That's the point.
It's not going to be like that. Because I know.
That's the point. You take advantage of somebody who is down. You take advantage to gain victory.
Let's not talk about that. Because
you should know something about taking advantage when you took advantage of Jacob Young. You should know about taking advantage when you let out your dark side. And the simple fact that you're siding with that fat sack of crap is outrageous.
You know why? You know why I'm siding with him? Is because I believe.
Although Mr. Titan, Mr. Michaels doesn't seem like he wants you to side with him, though. Apparently, Mr. Michaels is actually.
I mean, I understand why he wouldn't want me to after what I've done. But still, I remember the conversations we had.
Now you're backtracking. If you're gonna cut a promo, cut it right, kid.
You're one to talk.
Boy, things are we really going to break the fourth wall here? Well, obviously, look, you're 6'6". You're the first and only Grand Slam champion in TBW history. Let's try to maybe cooler heads to prevail. But I know this, Mr. Armageddon, Shane Davidson. Mr. Michaels is going to be here Saturday night, and he's going to address this, and he's going to definitely talk a lot about you. And
If you would like me to be present for that, I can.
Well, what do you do? What's your plan Saturday evening? Do you have any plans?
I have no plans.
I would think maybe you'd be trying to inflict Armageddon on people, maybe trying to go find another mask, maybe take a couple of people out and take them out in the woodshed. I mean, who knows? Maybe you even had some Black Friday sales you were looking for, scavenging through somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I was thinking you might have a couple of different things to do. But if you say you're available Saturday evening, I mean, are you saying you want Mr. Michaels face-to-face at some point here live on Sportswire Radio?
I would love to.
Should I ask Mr. Michaels for the permission or just bring you on?
That's up to you.
Okay, well, you know what? maybe you're onto something. I will say this here. I have a ton of comments here. I'll read off some of these comments. Let me get to the good ones here. Mr. Allen's obviously upset. Mr. Titan, you're here because obviously we know that, as I continue to point out, that's going to be going on for you and him for a while. Soldier GP says he agrees. He's not impressed with Mr. Davidson, but he'll have the chair next week. Mr. Allen, though, says that this big mouth can't shut up. I think he's talking about Mr. Titan.
I think he is too.
Duly noted. Mr. Michaels has a few things to say, though, but I guess he's not a fan of the turtleneck, though. Well, it's Thanksgiving, right? I mean, I don't think people wear turtlenecks on Thanksgiving, to be fair. I mean, it is Thanksgiving. I mean, I don't think you wear turtleneck. Usually you wear like a shirt, like a nice shirt.
Fashion like this, something Alan Michaels don't know.
Yeah, because to be fair, I haven't seen him in a nice shirt on TV. He also says, I also don't remember his neck being that long. Put the turtleneck back on. He also says, was your dad a giraffe? That's not fair. That's not fair.
Oh, he's got jokes. Okay.
You know what? You know what I think he's trying. I'm actually gonna. You know what? I'll actually do the hardy har for you. I think what Mr. Michaels is trying to say is, if anybody remembers Toys R Us, that giraffe in the Toys R Us commercials and the Toys R Us logo.
You talking about Jeffrey?
Yeah, he's trying to imply that Jeffries is the Atomic Titan's father. I think that's what he's trying to. I don't think that that's where Mr. Michaels should be going, especially after addressing the 12-year friendship you guys might have had under different aliases. But hey, who am I to say these days? He needs someone to carry him. That's what it is. And what side are you on, for God's sake? Meaning Mr. Titan. The hardcore
I'm kind
king.
of in the middle, Josh, honestly.
That's what it seems like. The hardcore king. Did I hear that right? If the foundation showed up, you'd be a former hardcore champ. But you are the hardcore king, and you are the only hardcore champion. And TBW, hoist that title up for the audience here. Forget about Black Friday deals. Let's take this comment off from Soldier and hoist that championship up. That is the prize in this sport right now that everybody is dying for. In fact, the almost 6,000 subscribers of Tennessee Backyard Wrestling want to see the Atomic Titan on their screens each and every Rampage, each and every premium shirt. And by the way, if you want an Atomic Titan shirt, if you want a TBW shirt, go to Redbubble. That's right, the TBW home for your merchandise. Shop. Want the TBW hats, want the TBW shirts, want that Nature Boy Gage Flash shirt, want that Joshua Allen shirt. You want your an Atomic Titan. If you want that Atomic Titan shirt, if you want any of your favorite TBW superstars, that's where you go. The Redbubble home for TBW merchandise. And go to TBW on YouTube, TBW 2017, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for your one-stop home of all things related to TBW. Now, that's a mouthful that I said, so let me get back to the people here. Mr. Howland says, for a hardcore champ who doesn't understand the rules of hardcore Christ. But again, Mr. Allen hasn't been in a ring in a while, and you got the gold.
Look, I
Mr.
understand it was a hardcore match, but still, you can still cheat to win. Do you see what I did? Yeah,
I see what
low
you did,
blowed.
basically turning the tables also on Mr. Davidson. Yeah, I was friends with the American Dragon, but he's dead, remember? You're a turtleneck Titan now, and any man who wears a turtleneck is definitely not going to trend. I mean, what's wrong with the turtlenecks and them not trending, first of all, is what I want to know. I guess no comment.
Well,
Can I answer that actually?
You can
Alan
say
Michaels,
anything you want.
Alan Michaels, I would like to formally answer this question for you. You're just scared because you can't wear a turtleneck because you got no neck.
Well, I mean, I think the better answer would be is you're trying to imply that he may not be able to find a size right that would be a turtleneck. Is that what you're trying to tell us here? So you're
He
trying
is
to tell us here.
turtlenecking. He is a turtleneck, dude.
Well, you're trying to tell us here when he goes
looks
to the
like a
mall
turtle.
tomorrow to try to find a deal on Black Friday for whatever shirts he's going to wear for Saturday's interview that he probably can't find a turtleneck in his size. That's not fair, though, mister. That's Before we move on to the rest of the show for a few more minutes, Mr. Davidson, Mr. Champion, obviously we want to give your respect to you because you are the standard bearer in this sport. You are the standard bearer in TBW. You are the only Grand Slam champion in the history of TBW and the only Grand Slam champion I believe we know in Sportswire radio history. Obviously, we're going to formally bring you back in the month of December to induct you into the Sportswire Hall of Fame because you are a Grand Slam champion. Got to induct you into the Hall of Fame. But is there anything else that you might want to address in your final few minutes here before I turn over to Mr. Davidson and he can give his final thoughts to Mr. Michaels and anything else he may want to share?
Well, I have a question. Can't talk. Shane, so is this championship or any championship not in your goals as we speak? Because you see, I was going to give you that offer of a lifetime side right beside me, but since you don't have no championship goals or nothing like that, it seems like that's off the table. So, as I said on episode 155, if you haven't watched yet tonight, I went out there and demanded more respect because that's what I deserve. And you know what? All these people wanted to hear from the Reaper, but I seen and watched closely that he was unable or not paying enough attention to be chaotic. He was this close. And you know what? I seen him backstage. I said, how does it feel to be a failure? Because, you know, since people wanted to call me that for so long,
Because you are.
should make him feel like that. But yeah, as your hardcore king, Shane, if we meet in the ring,
I'm going to squash you.
You're not going to squash me. Don't take me lightly. I've taken down bigger men than you.
But you haven't faced people like me.
I might have not faced people
I'm a different
like
breed,
you, but I sure
son.
as hell know that I could beat you.
I'm a different breed, son.
Well, we'll just have to see about that. Honestly,
no, I'm confident. I'm so confident in that.
You know what? I'm confident as well that I would beat you. I hope Commissioner Beast actually makes that match official sometime. And maybe it could be on the next Rampage. Maybe for this title. If you want it so bad. You know where I'm at. But then again, I might just not want to wrestle that night.
Well, that could be so. That could certainly be so. And Commissioner Beast has got some tough decisions right now. He's got to obviously figure out if we're going to see this last man standing match between Mr. Michaels and Mr. Davidson, and the Atomic Titan has demanded respect, and he certainly addressed Mr. Davidson that way. And Commissioner Beast is going to have to figure out that's his job. That's for what he's going to have to decide. Maybe we'll have more news on that on Saturday's show with Mr. Michaels. And also, Mr. Michaels wants to say that he wouldn't be caught dead in a turtleneck. So that's his official response and retort. He would not want to be caught in a turtleneck. So apparently, that's what he has to say. I guess we'll have to find out on that. And before I let you go, I actually want to break one more piece of information. That'll be Sunday evening here live on Sportswire Radio, 9 o'clock. We've seen him on TBW TV. But Mr. Tibbs himself, Mr. Joseph Tibbs, the owner of Resurrection Pro Wrestling, is
Awesome.
here live. He's here
Awesome.
live on Sportswire Radio, and I have a feeling he's going to address many people that we know in TBW because he's apparently requested a microphone and he wants to talk. And we saw after Mr. Tibbs and Mr. Beast, their history together. We saw the battlefield. We know, Mr. Titan, you were a part of that. Something tells me that Mr. Tibbs is going to have a lot that he wants to get off his chest as we continue, in a way, the holiday weekend on Sportswire Radio. You're going to want to be there or be square Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time with Mr. Tibbs.
But I will say, Shane, if the match does get accepted for season finale between you and Michaels, good luck to both of you. I'll be watching closely. I'm in the middle of this. You know, I respect both sides, but stop being a coward.
There ain't no coward in me. I face my problems head on, unlike Alan Michaels.
Well, we'll find out. You can follow the Atomic Titan on Instagram at Atomic Titan, and we look forward to seeing him here very soon. And happy Turkey Day. And yeah, okay, we'll let you go enjoy the balloons. And I guess on that note, we'll let you move on.
I guess that's a celebration, all right.
Yeah, you're the Hardcore King. So listen, the Hardcore King can have celebrations 24/7. And you go continue to celebrate, champ. Interesting there from Mr. Atomic Titan, who obviously is in a festive mood. He's in a celebratory mood, despite some of the comments here. And before I get to a few comments here more and a few more thoughts from you, sir, Mr. Allen wants to say, Anderson is the rightful hardcore champion, just like Ross said on commentary. Boy, I know who Ross is, by the way, no comment. And here you go again, competing when you want to who you are, that much of a chicken, fill in the blank. So you know what? We'll see about the Grim Reaper, if he'll be the rightful hardcore champion one day. And I want to say hello to somebody we might see real soon elsewhere on Sportswire Radio, Mr. D'Angelo LaFlame. Turtlenecks ain't trendy. Well, you know what? That might be his opinion. I might get his thoughts on that here sometime real soon on Sportswire. Mr. Michaels will have the chair. But as we get ready for the remaining minutes here in the show with you, and obviously we have certainly enjoyed our time with you, we can certainly see why you are a big and imposing man that they call Armageddon. I'm going to give you the opportunity, at least in your first formal appearance on Sportswire, although you have said for the audience that you will be around Saturday night and you may actually want to confront Mr. Michaels. So I have a feeling I'll be seeing you Saturday night. But do you have any final remaining words or any final thoughts before Mr. Michaels and even Commissioner Beast ponder whether they want to accept your offer of a last man standing match, season finale, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling?
Yeah, I do. If you don't mind, Tom, I'm gonna break the fourth wall again.
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second. My name's Shane Pasquini. I've addressed that before. After season finale, I will be taking some time off from TBW for a little while to focus on my mental health and start a family with my wife and working on some financial stuff. So that's honestly the only really big thing I really wanted to say is, like, I enjoyed my time with TBW, but after season finale, that will be probably the last time for a little while. You guys will see Armageddon Shane Davidson performing for you guys, and I've enjoyed each and every day that I've been with the TBW roster and all that stuff. And I just want to say thank you guys for the love and support that I've received through this entire experience of being with TBW. So it's really what I really wanted to say.
Well, let me break the fourth wall for a second, right? Because I know people were like watching an interview and they were like, huh? Well, now they're like, oh, wow. Let me break the fourth wall for a second. And let me first of all say congratulations while you take the face paint off. Congratulations to you and your wife. If you're going to start a family, I wish you certainly a lot of love, support. I know you obviously mentioned mental health, and certainly mental health is a big thing for people these days. I want to say also, as the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, your voice of all wrestling, the Reverend Tom Bryce, you will always have my support. I've gotten to know you a little bit here and there over the past few weeks. And if there's anything I could ever do for you, I'm always here. I'm here anytime. You're always welcome to come on Sportswire as Shane Pasqualini if you want to talk wrestling just in general.
Absolutely.
I would give you that opportunity. I like you a lot, and I certainly look forward to watching you in season finale. And I wish you all the best in whatever you decide to do in your future. And I really want to thank you for actually doing that, because that takes a lot what you just did just now. Usually people come on and but you actually were like, I think we were all kind of like right now trying to process this. You did this big interview, and then now you're like, just, hey, well, this is it for me, and I'm going to move on. And, I really appreciate the fact that you're a stand-up guy and kind of was straight up where you're going to go. Really, I really respect that a lot out of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I love each and every one of the fans that watch TBW, and I just want to really give a big shout out to them. Like, they've been like family. They've treated us like family all around.
You got a massive fan base. I'll tell you. Listen, you got 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views watched Rampage and premium live event shows, and every time I talk TBW on Sportswire, a lot of people tune in and people watch, or even the clips on Instagram, and whether it's on announcing anything TBW related. And I give you, like I said, a lot of credit, a lot of respect. And, I know it's not easy to come on here and all of a sudden talk all this smack and then say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go start a family. I just got married and I don't know how much more I have left in me. So I really respect the, really who you are. And that takes a lot. So I just want to say that I give you a lot of credit in that. I just sincerely do that. And before I move on here, let me get to a couple of comments here. Mr. Allen would like to say, best of luck, Shane. This isn't me, it's Joshua Allen. But thank you for your time in TBW. As they say never. You'll always have a place in TBW. And you know what? I want to say real quick that you have made TBW a fun place. And watching you, getting to know you here, you have been an interesting guy. You've come in here and, you kind of reminded me as like an untapped talent. You had a little bit of Kevin Nash in you, a little bit of Abyss. You did the Black Hole Slam. You did the sit down power. You had like the sidewalk slam. Like you had those moves that certainly, you have a lot of potential. And I hope that one day that we get to see you again. But listen, life responsibilities come first. I would never take that away from you. I understand. I've been doing this 5 years and I still work in the world of politics. So I understand, the sacrifices, and I want to congratulate you again. And two more comments. Jason Storm and Ron are going back and forth, but I'll let them go back and forth. And he respects you from his real name. And I thank you for that as well. And before we sign off, obviously, I hope to get you back on. I know I'll see you as your alter ego, well, Mr. Davidson. I'll see you when Mr. Michaels comes on, certainly Saturday night. But is there anything else you'd like to say before we sign off, sir?
My biggest thing I really want to say, if you have any sort of problems, like mental health wise, I'm always open to talk about it, and I'm an open book. I'm literally.
You're 6'6". Of course, you're an open book. You're figuratively and literally an open book.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking the fourth wall again, but this is just a character. I just play a character. If anybody is out there that's wanting to reach out for help and wanting to get the help they need, I'm all ears. I'm an open book, and I get emotional talking about it because
well, don't cry on me because you're 6'6".
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
We have a match to promote, but I understand. Listen, I've been doing this a long time. Like I said, I've worked in the world of politics, and I've seen, things. I always tell the story real quick. I was there when we had Superstorm Sandy and the water was coming up, and I was there and I could see the water coming and, the 2 days before prior. So I've seen, different stuff out there, but don't cry on us because we need you for the match, hopefully against Mr. Michael.
No, absolutely.
But I understand your point, but go ahead, continue.
But no, like if anybody honestly needs like help, like you can honestly reach out to me. I'm an open book, because and it's not just mental health in general. It's just mental health. It's men's mental health awareness.
Yeah.
Because men's mental health just gets overlooked, and I'm one of those victims. So, if anybody needs honestly, if you guys need help with anything, feel free to reach out.
Well, that's really big of you. You really figuratively and literally are. I think the tallest guest I think I've ever had on Sportswire. You definitely showed that in character and out of the character. And Jason Storm, the wild card, who's also, by the way, I want to give him a big shout out. In real life, he's also starting a family, and he says it's a blessing. Absolutely, I congratulate you and your beautiful wife, and I definitely look forward to seeing more of you in the
Thank you.
future, inside the ring and outside the ring. And God bless you and your wife and your family, and thank you for the opportunity here on Sportswire Radio. I'll definitely see you Saturday again, and definitely see you more in the future. You're always welcome anytime you have something to say, even if it's not TBW. You'll always have the floor with me. And I just want to say before we sign off that anybody that's come on Sportswire has always had an open door with me through my 5 years, and I've always continued to have that policy, and that will always remain in effect. And you are certainly one of those people. And listen, congratulations on all your success outside the ring. I'm looking
Thank you.
forward to seeing you in your remaining time in TBW. And definitely never say never is a line that we use quite a bit. And I believe that's going to stay with you. And I believe one day we will see you back out there in the ring. But until then, I'll see you Saturday. Happy Turkey Day, what's left of it. And I enjoyed this.
All right. You have a good one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Armageddon Shane Davidson, who said a mouthful here tonight as he is getting ready to see if Alan Michaels, our guest, Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, will accept his offer for a last man standing match. We'll stay tuned for more details, and I'll also be back here before that 8 o'clock Eastern Time with Hardcore. We're going to be wrestling Jimmy Controversy, who Mr. Davidson, Mr. Allen, Mr. LaFlame, Mr. Titan all shared a locker room with last weekend at Resurrection Pro Wrestling. Oh, by the way, Resurrection Pro Wrestling owner Joseph Tibbs live 9 o'clock Eastern Time Sunday to close out the Thanksgiving Day weekend. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, your voice of all wrestling. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. I'll be back Friday night, tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Time with the regular Sportswire Radio show. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one coverage edition that is Sportswire Radio. And happy Thanksgiving and enjoy.